This is Dabu7. In this video, I'm going to share with you some clips, tips, and highlights from my trip to Georgia's northern mountains where we hit the streams with the Keen Dredge. And as you can see here, I started my way across the river using a pulley system of ropes to position myself where I need to be. And I always do this so that the dredge doesn't get carried off in the current, and so you can position yourself pretty well from side to side. You can make your adjustments, especially if there is a current, and as you can see here, I'm doing just that. But before this, what I had to do is get out here and do some prospecting, finding good spots on the river. I'm going to cover that in another video. You're going to see several videos in terms of the dredging. I will put one out specifically on how to put this thing together through and through, top to bottom, in a separate video. I will also be doing some crevicing in separate videos too. But getting into the right spot is key when getting out here looking for gold. You have to know where the gold falls. It takes the shortest, straightest path from point to point, and oftentimes you can find it on the outside of an inner bend. The sandbars that are created. You also have low pressure points that are created when a big rock is sticking up out of the middle of the river. And if you can get behind that, your chances of finding gold, if you're in an area known for gold, you will find it. Now here you can see me priming the pump. This is key. And I'm going to talk about that more here from the water in this next clip.
All right. As I was saying before, with this pump, you've got to take your footer here and you've got to pump it. When you're first trying to prime this, you need to pump it back and forth, move it back and forth under the water where there's no air and where the water will travel up the tube and into the main feeding point here. Now this is your pressure valve. This valve's going to run down and run into your power jet on the bottom. Now suction nozzles are a little bit different, but this one's a power jet. And then at the bottom here, there on that bottom coupling, that's where I'm about to hook up the main hose. Once I do that, I'm going to fire this up. We'll get water flowing, and you guys see some dredging.
And from this perspective, you can see the dredge in action as I'm working to move away that top layer of lighter sands. Now, this was just a 2-inch dredge, and normally I would have both hands available to get in here with a pick and work the cracks and crevices, but as you guys just seen, I was holding the cam in my left hand. So normally I would be down here with both hands working these cracks and crevices with a pick, cleaning them out real good. But I wanted to get this footage and show you guys as an example of what to do and what to look for and what you're going to have to work through. There's going to be a layer of sand, as you can see here, of the finer sands before you get down to the heavier sands, the black sands. You will also see some conglomerates, a lot of different crystal type of rocks. We've seen a lot of quartz. And when you see a lot of this round rock on the inside bend of a creek or a river, that's a good sign. Now, we also seen pyrite and other minerals called fool's gold. And you're going to have to work your way through that stuff, but seeing that in your pan is a good sign, all in all, if you're in an area that's known to have some gold. Now, as you can see here, in this clip, I worked to remove this whole layer of lighter sands that was sitting on top, and then I would go back in and try to go deeper into the sand and into the crevices and get all that material out of the cracks. Now, the gold is going to be resting with all the heavier elements. Not only the gold, but lead, copper, other metals like that. And here, I'll take a look at what is in the sluice box. And as you can see here with this rock, you're going to see some speckles that may make you think it's gold, but it's not. You're going to find mica. You're going to find things like pyrite. And you could come across some big shiny pieces of pyrite and fool's gold, and it will trick some. But if you're seeing these minerals around in an area or a river or a creek that is known to have gold, it's a good sign, but you're looking for that pay streak. Now here I have removed all the matting, and I'm going to go into a cleanup mode where I clean it into a smaller tub, and I take all that concentrate, or it's what they call cons. I take that back to go through later. Now my first pans, my testing pans, I'll do right there on the river. But the whole day's work, I'll gather it in one tub as I'm doing my cleanouts. That way I can take back when I have time and go through all the cons. As you can see here, I work both sides of the mat to get it clean. And in a quick example here, I put this back together and get it fired back up so I can move on to the panning. But in a separate video, I'm going to show the whole breakdown of getting this thing put together in the water, fired up, in action again, and then a step-by-step for those out there that have questions. Now, in terms of the panning, you can operate here with several different pans, different sizes. You can see the big one here if you have a larger supply of concentrate. And if you're working with a smaller amount, you can go down to the smaller pans. Now, I like to work with the black and the blue, and you want to catch it right there in that ridge line where I just pointed out. That's where you want to concentrate all your material. Now, there's two ways of doing this, primarily. The back and forth, as you see here, where you let the water just kind of roll the lighter material off the top. And then others will use a technique of back and forth, side to side. Now, it's my opinion that you're going to use both. It just depends on the situation, but I think both are handy methods, but it depends on your pan, the material, and where you've got it concentrated. Now, I will work the pan like this, continuing to remove the lighter material till I get down to the black sands. And once I get down to this area, sometimes I'll switch over and use the blue pan because it has a little area that catches all the fine sand. And with the black pan, it's hard to see the black sands all the time. But I have a magnet that will remove all of this. And as you can see here, when washing away, when swirling around the water, you can see we have color. And that is the fine gold coming out of the waterways that are coming from Georgia's northern mountains. And here is a look at it dried out in the pan. You can see that a lot of this up there is flatter and some of the finer gold. But keep your eyes peeled for future videos. I'll be doing a how-to on the Keen 2-inch dredge, putting it together all the way through and through. Some separate videos on specific things from here. Also covering some crevicing and really just hitting different areas, places that I can get to and try to cover. I'm going to continue to do that, and I'll continue to try to share the footage with you guys along the way. But there you guys go for our trip and some tips. And stay tuned for more. This has been Dabu7. Much love, y'all.